Welcome to episode 4 of ShootNLoot and Outriders podcast. This is part 2, our Shoot the Captain section. I am your host, Outrider Kev, and to my physical front, my co-host, Rob the Man.
Hey.
And to my physical left, his brother, Chatu.
Hello.
If this is your first time, welcome as we delve deep into the news and everything that's ravaging planet Enox. You can catch part 1 on YouTube Live right now, but let's get into our Shoot the Captain section. Our topics for today are going to be about 2 special movies to us because they're very special. They make us feel something. One makes us feel joy. The other one makes us feel dread. We're going to talk about Mortal Kombat 2021, the one that came out on HBO Max and theaters right now. And then after that, we're going to talk about... I did something to Rob and his brother, and I made them hurt. I made them watch X-Men Dark Phoenix, and I wanted to get their thoughts about that too. But first of all, let's go ahead and start with Mortal Kombat 2021. First impressions. I thought it was great. Fucking love that movie. I thought that everything that they set out to do, they nailed it. The humor was surprisingly good. The action scenes, they were exactly where I wanted them to be, and they nailed the characters, at least to how they're portrayed in the games. They didn't take any weird side cuts of those characters where they kind of what the X-Men franchise does, where they'll take the Cyclops character and then make him into something that's not recognizable anymore. No, every character that you saw in this movie was recognizable. That was Sonya Blade, that was Liu Kang, that was Kang Lao. What'd you think about the movie, Rob?
I really dug it, man. I thought it was, it knew what it was from the get. It was, there was some corny stuff, like always. There's some kind of cheesy shit that's but for the most part, it was a fun movie. Even the cheesy, it was good bad.
You're right.
It was good bad. It paid homage to the old movie, from the music down to even some of the sceneries and stuff like that. And I don't know, I liked it a lot. Thought it was cool.
Chatu?
I felt like they really, really were catering to their audience. They knew that a lot of people that were going to watch it were really big fans of the games. So everybody you see, it's just yes, that's what Drax looks. Not Drax. That's what Jax looks like.
Right.
That's what Sonya looks like. Even their abilities and
really cool.
Even their abilities and their powers, it's just ripped from the game, and it's so awesome to see it in live action. And even the characters have influence from where they're supposed to be from. They have them from the characters that are supposed to be kind of Chinese influence. You see it in their costumes, their armor, their weapons. You see it with the samurais. Scorpion looked just badass, the coolest you could see Scorpion.
Right, I really love that.
Pretty dope. Yeah, Scorpion. Sub-Zero was pretty dope too. But and I like too that you saw different versions of Sub-Zero's suit. In the end when they're fighting, it was more stripped down.
Right.
It pulled off.
Yeah, it's the basic ninja costume.
Yeah. Kind of how it almost felt like that paid an homage to how it was in the 90s games. Yeah, in the beginning. Really cool. The first Mortal Kombat where it was multi-cloth. Because in the more later series right now, it's armor. It's it's other stuff on top of it.
Yeah. I think the also the one complaint I had, actually, I should say, one complaint I had was the dragon fatality.
Right.
It looked
a little bit the special effects weren't that good for that particular scene.
It wasn't much of an upgrade from the
Well, speaking of what Chatu was saying that about them knowing their audience, they did it in an interview from Forbes.com. They interviewed the director, Simon Coyd, and this is what they asked him about, what he thought about the movie, the reception to the movie. One of the questions that they had asked him is, so much of the industry is driven by IPs these days. Over the weekend, I saw on social media that people who don't usually watch video game movies were saying that they enjoyed and found it fun. For this movie to be found it fun. And Mr. McCoy, he said, if you can't have fun watching Mortal Kombat, then I'm not sure we did our job properly. That's not to say that we diminished it, its importance or what it represents, but that was a component of its execution that mattered to me. It takes multiple ingredients to create that. It takes an actor like Josh Lawson to deliver a performance like he did with Kano, and it takes an actor like Hiroyuki Sanada to bring that level of gravitas and so on. Fun is not always just funny. Josh is funny, but watching Hiroyuki as Scorpion carries weight in the lore of Mortal Kombat. That matters, and that's important. It's about setting the tonal differences together to create this one creative stew. Fun people being engaged and entertained on multiple levels, creating an experience that was enjoyable.
Yeah,
I definitely
pretty much summed it up.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely feel that it was a lot tighter, and the story was just so cool because it was they give you a taste of everybody's backstory, but it wasn't like a chore to sit through their backstory.
Right, and it wasn't like, if you think about it, Liu Kang had the shortest backstory, but it had such a giant impact of how he got his dragon tattoo, about killing this guy who was like a...
Yeah.
He implied that the guy was a pedophile, right? Yeah. And he's like, I fucking murdered him, and I got my dragon tattoo. And that was kind of dark, because you already get the sense, his sense of righteousness that we know that Liu Kang has, at least from the games, because he's one of the central heroes to the whole Mortal Kombat mythos.
Yeah, the casting was pretty spot on, too,
right?
Yeah, like throughout.
Seeing Raiden.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Raiden look a little more accurate was kind of nice.
I know, right? I don't know. Part of me misses the first Raiden just because that voice was so Mortal Kombat. Obviously, this was way more accurate.
What's his name? Christopher Lambert.
Right.
Yeah,
He's from.
Dude, he's squinting for half that. I went back and looked at all the old photos, and I saw some clips from the old movie, and he's literally, there's makeup, and he's squinting in the movies. It's not right.
Yeah,
that's not right.
But either way, you know, they did what they had back then. But even we know it's a bad movie, but at the same time, it's one of those cultural pieces where we all know it's bad, but we still love it because of what it represented at the time.
Yeah,
especially because at that moment, there weren't that many video game movies that I can recognize. Maybe the Super Mario Bros. Movie and Street Fighter.
It was like perfect timing. That first movie, it was like, I remember same thing with Street Fighter too. Like it was. But more so with Mortal Kombat, because when Street Fighter came out, like I played the game,
right,
and I watched the movie, and I knew it was a bad movie even when I was a kid. I was like, this is not good, you know. And but Mortal Kombat was a little bit different because that movie came out at the peak of my interest in Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like at the top of my interest when I was a kid.
That's why the panel's hot.
Yeah, it was like at the height of my hype. So when that movie came out, I was like, yeah, this was made for me. You know what I mean? So that's what I really liked about it, the first one. But I mean, it's not much better than the Street Fighter movie.
Right.
But it is better.
Right. You know, with the Street Fighter, I don't want to get into that, but they've never really done a lot of good justice to the Street Fighter, like lore or story. I mean, it's cooler in the games. Obviously, it's always going to be cool in the games.
Some things are just meant to be one thing.
Yeah, they stick to their media.
Yeah, like Mortal Kombat always had that bit of lore though, where they did care about the story, especially in the recent games after Mortal Kombat 9 when they reset the story. They put a lot of effort into the story modes.
Maybe because it was like the sprites were based on actual actors and stuff like that. Maybe that's why as kids we always felt like it was a game based on a movie.
Right.
It always felt like there was background to it.
I always like watching those YouTube videos of how they created those scenes and a lot of the capture footage for those actors to, you know, be able to do all the move scenes. And
it's almost like rotoscoping, right? Where it's like you're just taking imagery and then you just...
I'm sure they have a bunch of ways of doing it now.
Yeah, definitely. But now it's just fully 3D animated models, you know, with the highest levels of graphics. Because Mortal Kombat 11 looks amazing. Yeah, like it's like way and above a lot of most fighting games now. Like a lot of fighting games are not to that caliber of style. Right. Or at least that type of visual, exactly. Because the only other game that I think looks amazing would be anything made by Arc System Works, like the Guilty Gear series, Dragon Ball Fighters. But those are amazing looking games for what they are, because they're more anime based games. They're more 2D animation mixed with 3D.
Do you think those look better though because they're based on something, like they're held to a higher tier? Because like I've gone back and played like Tekken, and some of the designs are kind of funky.
Which is true, but the ones I'm talking about, well, when I mean like that Mortal Kombat 11 has a really high pedigree when it comes to graphics, is because they're going for the semi-realistic look. Other fighting games don't try to go for that look. They'll try to go for more a stylized look, you know, for it to age better, because eventually those semi-realistic looks are going to eventually look bad over time, especially as, you know, we go on in the generations and get better games later on down the road. Because look at Mortal Kombat 9.
Real confidence.
Exactly.
Realism.
Because if you go back to Mortal Kombat 9 now, and again, it was made in the same way, try to make it as realistic as possible to the characters, and then it doesn't hold a candle anymore because of the improvements that we have now.
Right.
While a game like Smash Brothers, a game like Tekken, a game like Street Fighter, they're 2D based animations, and that's going to age a lot better than something that's based on a human face. You know, to try to portray that in a video game.
Yeah, I hear you.
But either way, I thought the movie was great. What did you guys think of... Okay, I wanted to go over each character's representation in the movie. What did you guys think of Scorpion? Because I mean, I kind of feel like he was the titular hero of the story, even though we were supposed, we're following Cole's story.
Yeah.
Because he's the audience. He's the one that he's showing us all these characters and reintroducing these people to the world. But I loved how they set up this story of Mortal Kombat with the battle between Scorpion's clan and then Sub-Zero's clan. Sorry, because I always forget the names.
I do too.
Yeah, but I thought that was great. What did you guys think about Scorpion's backstory and also the portrayal of that character?
I thought Scorpion was great. I thought the weakest part about Scorpion was Cole Young. I thought that was the weakest part. I wasn't too crazy about his character, and then felt like a Goro fight with him could have been someone else. But I thought the whole drama of Scorpion, the way they opened the scene, the way he kind of came in later on, I thought it was really cool. It was earnest. They took it like kind of at face value. They took the story at face value.
Mm-hmm.
They showed you his clan. They outright showed you his family getting killed and shit. Like that was cool. Let me see. Some of the, I guess it goes without saying, some of that dialogue is always going to be cringy. Huh?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And who says perfect or flawless victory after they just killed someone? No one says that, but that's not meant for those characters. That's not meant for that world. That's meant for us. That's just a clear, fan service for us because we want to hear that. And like they mentioned, even the director, Greg Rucka, sorry, not the director, the screenwriter for this movie, he said I try to add as much fan service as I could and make it true to what the video game source is. And again, his main goal, he even said it himself, I'm trying to make as many non-cringy lines and try to fit them in there as naturally as I can. Because at the end of the day, it is a video game. It's not going to resonate that well.
It didn't really feel force-fed either. It was just when they happen, they're not necessarily natural. They need to kind of take
it stands out, but it's fun for us.
Yeah, when you get it, you're like, cool, like that was awesome. and you kind of get drawn into it more because they did that just at the right moments. Like
I thought the one moment where it fit the best was when okay, let's go train, let's get your Raka, your powers up, let's go test your might. You know what I'm saying? And then
like he said it.
he said that thing.
that was well done.
It was great with Scorpion. Adding on what Tito said, like just showing his backstory and it just starts. So you just see it happen. And you're like, oh, is this the direction this movie's going? It's just going to be in traditional Japan, or is this going to be one of their worlds or whatever? But it just goes at it. And then it's just to give you he's so important. It's just to give you his backstory for a quick snippet.
I remember just yelling at you guys, like, you know what? This first scene's already better than the other two movies combined.
Yeah. Well, that first scene was awesome.
The fight, the choreography in that movie it's pretty tight.
There was a scene that stood out as being weak, and I don't remember which one it was, but it was pretty weak considering it was like an inconsistent quality. I noticed, like the quality of the scene, it just looked cheap. I just don't remember which scene.
Oh, the one where Jax fights that one hammer captain.
That one.
That's the one, right? Yeah.
It was a little
it was a great Jack moment, but I thought that villain or that character that he's fighting against just didn't stand out that much because he just made generic bad guy faces.
It could have been anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't have to be that hammer guy. It could have been anybody. From the roster.
There's so many characters they could have chosen to fill that role, but it's just to show his abilities, Jack's abilities, really.
Okay, so Scorpion was great. Obviously, we love Scorpion. I love this iteration of Scorpion because I don't even know if you guys remember in the previous iteration, he was just almost like a cartoony villain, right? He was just a bad ninja that could breathe fire.
Like a talking spear.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Pterodactyl.
And again, back then, that's all we had. We just liked that was cool, and we saw that representation of it. Now they give Scorpion actual backstory, and they actually use the game's lore of, hey, Sub-Zero's clan, Scorpion's clan, they have always been a warring faction in this mythos of that game. And I'm glad that got represented.
Blue doesn't like that.
represented in the action movie itself, because again, it shows you, hey, there's bloodshed in this movie, in this universe. This is what sets that tone.
Because it definitely felt like before, it's just like blue ninja, no like yellow ninja.
Right.
It's just, you don't really.
No, before they were homies.
Yeah, they were both on the same side.
Yeah, they were on the. They were just henchmen to Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
This year.
What you guys think of Shang Tsung in this movie?
I thought he was cool too. He was he wasn't as cool as the first one.
No, I just don't feel like he was as grandiose as that first actor.
Yeah. That first Shang Tsung, they made in Mortal Kombat 11, the actor who they did the face of Shang Tsung is the actor from the movie.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh, right.
And
I remember that because that was a big news that they were adding him, and people were asking for more. Oh, can you get the guy who did Johnny Cage to be Johnny Cage, and things like that. But I think they just did him because I'm pretty sure he was around, or he said yes, or whatever. Yeah. So you never know how these deals are made, because why just him? Why didn't they do the entire cast of, you know what I'm saying?
I think he was the most iconic. Him and Liu Kang were the most iconic
characters in that movie.
Yeah.
Liu Kang is tight in the old ones.
Yeah, Liu Kang was dope in the old ones.
Badass.
That hair?
Cool.
That hair in the old ones?
It was Beverly Hills Ninja.
Right?
Yeah, right.
It was Beverly Hills Ninja with Chris Farley.
And the guy who played Shang Tsung in the old one, he came on Balls of Fury exactly as that character.
Yeah, that guy's great.
But even then,
but I felt he was a little impression of him. Didn't you think that?
Yeah, I felt like they told him to act like him.
Yeah, like
just,
you know,
be like that guy.
But he did his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
He was Lau from Dark Knight.
Lau?
The guy in the TV.
Right.
Joker comes and talks to all the gangsters.
Right.
He's the guy that's in the TV.
Yeah.
The Joker burns him on the pile of money. Right? Yeah. Doesn't he burn him alive on the pile of money?
I thought Batman saves him.
No.
I think that's just cut away. You assume that he burned on that pile of money.
Right. Yeah, and then they
Chin Han.
They fed the and they fed the guy to the dogs, the Chechen guy to the dogs.
Rottweilers.
Yeah.
But either way, Chin Han as Shang Tsung. It's so hard sometimes to keep these character names straight. But it was great. I thought he did a good portrayal. I mean, I don't think it was as iconic as the other one, but he did his job. He was a villain. You could understand that there was an opposing force to Raiden. You know.
Yeah. And he was kind of, even in this one, he was kind of bad just to be bad. And that's okay too. I love that the villain is just a villain because there's not really a reason.
Okay, what'd you think of Jax? And his name is Mehcad Brooks.
He was in Supergirl, wasn't he?
He was in Supergirl?
He was Jimmy Olsen.
Oh.
Supergirl.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. He was good. It was good. The little baby arms are hilarious.
with PTRXs. Yeah. But I do feel like that might be, because they say they get it from another realm, the robot arms. And that might tie in, like, if they bring in, was it Sector or Cyrax or something?
From what I heard...
So we had to talk about this.
Yes, from what I heard, that no, he grew those arms. They didn't implant those. That's his power manifesting.
So I was under the impression
like
that the monastery...
had given him, or like made surgery on him.
Little ass erector set arms.
I could have sworn they hooked him up.
I assumed that they gave him these baby arms, and there was like that.
Well, because it was going around social media that well, we didn't have to rewatch that scene because I didn't really look into it, but the what we're saying online was that he had grown those arms after he got his ass kicked by Sub-Zero. Oh. That was his Raka manifesting itself.
Was it Raka or Okana?
I thought they only grew when he was trying to save Sonya. I thought it was his ability came out. Like he's I don't know, what would you call it? Like a mechanical mancer. I don't know.
Because he got his arms broken off by Sub-Zero, and then the next scene is when Sonya finds him in the hospital. Oh well, in that temple area.
He has no arms at that point, and then the little monks put on the little skinny skeleton arms on him. The monks put him on, and then when he's trying to save Sonya, they turn all powerful.
Yeah.
So they're probably just like prosthetics initially. And then when he taps into his power,
that's it manifested.
Yeah, that's when they come out all huge.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
but
I'm pretty sure that's what I remember.
Yeah, so we're unclear on whether the monastery gave him those arms or he grew the baby.
But either way, I thought that character was great. His again, his tie to Sonya, obviously, it makes homage to the game and to the story that they're partners.
Sonya was probably my favorite character.
She was really good.
She carried a lot of the movie
Kano was awesome.
Right when Kano was great.
That dichotomy between Kano and her was perfect. Yeah. It was in a lot of ways it was almost like the B storyline of that movie.
Yeah, the writing, her character arc was probably my favorite, even more so than Cole's. And just her not having
the dragon tattoo.
The tattoo, and then her.
She has to earn it.
Yeah.
And then,
which I find a little weird. Like, okay, some people are born with it, and some people just kill the other person to earn it.
Like Highlander,
right? There can only be one.
There can only be one.
Wait, that was also Christopher Lambert.
That was.
It's all connected.
But if they're all supposed to be heroes, why would you kill someone to get it? You know what I'm saying? Like that sounds.
Well, the thing is,
a little weird.
Some of them killed others to save others, so maybe it's like a sense of sacrifice.
Probably,
or maybe we're not supposed to think this hard.
Right.
Maybe you shouldn't dig into a Mortal Kombat maybe that heavily.
Maybe we just leave it at yes.
What about Liu Kang?
He was dope. He didn't get as much focus as before.
No, he was not a central character in this one.
A lot of the focus is on Cole.
I think that's the way the games have evolved, though. Huh?
Yeah.
They've kind of driven away from Liu Kang's story.
Yeah, when they make a story mode, they concentrate on all the characters and see what everyone's doing. They'll give you your small main cast that you're gonna follow through the entire storyline of the story mode. But yeah, it's not like this is Liu Kang's story or this is this person's story. No, it's everyone's story.
Yeah.
Which I think is great. You know, it gives everyone more credence, more importance. I know everyone talks shit about Cole and how I personally half like Cole, half don't. Like, I understand why he's there. Like, he's there for the audience to introduce you back to these characters. Because, again, some people are watching this movie that have no idea who these people were. Maybe they heard about it. Oh, yeah, I know the Blue Ninja guy. You know, say things like that. And he was that character to introduce us to that. I thought his ability was cool, where he takes damage and then releases it back. Yeah. But the armor, the way it looked was cheesy. You could tell he was wearing a rubber suit on top.
It was unfinished. Like, it felt like they needed to still probably do some CGI work on it or something.
Maybe some CGI would have cleaned it up.
I thought initially that he was gonna actually become Scorpion.
Right, that was. I think a lot of people felt that.
Same. Or remember, I forgot his name. I want to say it was Tenchi or something like that. He was in X, and he had
batons.
He was part of the same clan. I think it was with Ashira Ryu or something like that.
Yeah.
And he had not batons. He had cables, like Mickey Rourke did in Iron Man.
Oh, right. Yeah. He'd heat him up or whatever.
But they had blades and shit. And I forgot his name, but he was in Mortal Kombat 10. And I thought Cole was going to be him.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I could.
There's so many characters that he could have.
There was so many characters that could have been Cole.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Stryker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could have but honestly, Stryker.
Striker's great.
I would love to see Stryker be a fatality for the bad guy. I'm down to lose Stryker at a fatality.
Yeah, there's enough characters in the Mortal Kombat universe that you could see as just fodder to get a cool fatality out of.
That's what was awesome too, is that they kind of leave it up in the air that they even say it that death is in the end for them. So a lot of these characters, you could probably see them again in some kind of.
Scorpio can't get back. He fought his way out of hell just to fight fucking Sub-Zero.
But all these Outworld characters, they even say like, oh, there's other realms that could bring them back, and revive people. So there's if a lot of characters that people like, they're gonna be able to bring them back. Like even with Kano with his eye when he Kano. Sorry. With Kano, Kaiju.
I mess up the names all the time. It's hard to get them straight sometimes because there's so many different phonetic sounds in it, and they all come from different cultures. You know what I'm saying?
Q's and K's. With Kano, they show him get his eye ability, and he never has the plate on his face.
No.
So it's interesting to think, well, maybe in some revival of him, or when obviously he's a bad guy, he's going to side with the bad guys. That
they're going to put an amplifier.
They can put a plate
laser
on
amplifier.
Right.
Rebuild him some type of weird cyborg way.
Yeah.
That's always possible, yeah. But still, for Liu Kang's character, for Cole's character, I love how Cole, introduces these characters like legends. Or Liu Kang and Kung Lao felt like legends, like people who were mythic, in a mythic status, while Sonya, Jax, Cole, they felt like the newcomers to this franchise.
So many callbacks to other characters just in the background. You see newspaper clippings, weapons, symbols, just
Liu Kang being trained by Boraicho.
Yeah.
Like things like that.
Yeah.
Those just
also Kotal Khan.
Kotal Khan is in one of the statues or one of the paintings in the back.
Statues.
Yeah. I thought that was great. That actor who played Liu Kang, I thought he was great. I don't think he was as iconic as the old one, right?
Yeah.
But I still think he stands out a lot for this generation and people who fall in love with this movie.
Yeah.
And that fool was so cut.
Yeah.
He wasn't huge. He was just really cut. And that was like a striking visual where you could tell he took it. I mean, Liu Kang's character always going to take it a step above. He's always going to be the Ryu character. He's always going to be the moral compass of that series, and the fact that he was so cut, I thought was really cool because it paid homage to the games where he trains all his life. You see that effort.
These people are gonna look like athletes,
right?
Look like fighters.
Yeah, that was cool. The whole thing with Liu Kang and Kung Lao in that movie was pretty cool because it showed you why their powers were so developed,
right?
And stuff like that, because they've been at it for years. They've been at it for a while, You know what I'm saying?
Kung Lao felt like almost like Captain America. Like he learned how to use that metal hat, you know, and how to use it in creative ways and things
I
that you could tell he
don't know how that's his ability. Like, there's no magic to it. He just throws the freaking hat around. Like, but it's still awesome to see. And just in a movie scene, like I don't exactly remember who he's fighting, but he puts the hat back on and it's just covered in gore.
Right.
It's just dripping down the hat, and it looks so awesome.
The Batwing lady,
which got her name.
Background character.
She was a fighter though. She wasn't made for the movie.
She was a fighter because I don't remember her at all.
In one of the games, I don't remember, but she was in one of the games.
But it just seeing that was awesome. Like they somehow worked in the chainsaw fatality with him.
Right.
It just looked awesome. You see someone split in
the
half.
buzzsaw.
Yeah, the buzzsaw.
And he just surfs her into the buzzsaw.
Okay, let me throw another character at you. I'm not gonna do Kano because I think that's kind of
Universal.
Yeah, it's universal. He had great lines, great chemistry with everyone in the cast.
He really did.
What did you guys think of Cabal? Because for a lot of people, Cabal was one of the best standout characters, especially how quippy he was, how accurate they got his fighting style.
I really do think that his style and visuals, they nailed it so hard.
Because I really enjoyed it. As a person who had seen Cabal in other games, I'm like, this was great and was unexpected.
I loved it.
I don't know. I felt his voice was weird to me. His voice.
Like
weird.
It's
like,
probably just an effect, like the respirator thing.
Yeah.
No,
it sounded
wasn't so
like
much that. It was more of a... It wasn't the effect. It was more of the way he spoke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He spoke
his
like
personality.
Yeah, he spoke
he
like,
had an accent,
like
though,
a
right?
real '90s bro.
Yeah.
And it looked out of place being a guy from.
But that's the thing,
Outworld.
though. He's not from Outworld.
He's from the Black Dragon Clan. He's like Kano, pretty much.
He's a human, but so he just has a back. He's a sleazeball. That's the whole point.
Okay.
So it kind of still doesn't make sense. He's just rebuilt in Outworld, and that's why he has all the junk on him that he does.
I guess so. I didn't mind. I thought he was cool. I thought the fight with him and Liu Kang was cool. I just thought that the voice was a little out of place. It kind of pulled me out. It just sounded like a guy in a recording booth.
Gotcha.
I could see that. Yeah.
No, definitely. The VO wasn't that good.
Yeah. It wasn't integrated into the environment well. Something about it stood out to me as odd. I got to rewatch it. I couldn't figure it out, but something about it stood out as odd. Maybe the way the voice was mixed into the rest of the audio or something like that.
I think he did have some of the best display of like his powers.
Yeah,
they visualized it so well.
Yeah, because it was so reminiscent of the game. You know, it was so cool to see that. I'm like, oh shit, they're actually using the portrayal and then everything that he does with his weapons, and even have with the weapons that he uses. You know, like again, it kind of shows that they're putting a lot of care into. Hey, this movie may not make a lot of sense, but at least it's gonna look visually like the games that have come before it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you don't have to explain everything. You know what I mean? Like, we have
you already know who's watching it.
Yeah, like you said, they know who the audience was for this movie, and that's what it nailed it because.
But what I'm saying, at a point where we have Avengers and Star Wars and Harry Potters, and
we can get like a good story somewhere else.
All these like fucking movies where it's like world building.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Lord of the Rings is just that. It's all world building in total.
What I'm trying to say is that it's like it's I think you just have to just have faith at the audience. Just catch up.
Yeah.
Catch up. Suspend your disbelief.
Or just enjoy the violence. Enjoy the action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Don't think about it too hard. I think that's a lot of these movies is that, you know?
Okay, then let me ask you guys this other question then. What was the problem with Cole then? You know what I'm saying? With Cole, like him being a character. What bothered you about him, and how do you think they could have improved him or improve him in the next movie? Did it bother you that he's tied to Scorpion as a lineage? Is that the part that bothers you?
That part was actually one of the cooler points, I think, with his character.
I just feel that there's a lot of characters on the roster that they could have fit into his, and I understand that they want to have a story that kind of follows through, but Cole could have been Johnny Cage. He could have been Johnny Cage.
Yeah, easily.
It could have been
a washed-up
Striker.
actor.
It could have been anybody. You know what I mean?
He felt very generic, and even his design felt kind of lazy. Like just his costuming and stuff. It was cool, but everybody else, when you put him next to everyone else, he looks kind of goofy. He looks like he's playing dress up compared to a lot of those people there.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought what I did like was his fighting.
Yeah, I thought his backstory of being an MMA fighter was cool because it makes him more relevant to right now, you know?
Yeah.
And he has the discipline. You can kind of see it when he's training. You could see that, he has that fighter discipline. He's always learning, where someone like Kano is just there.
No, he had a good, the stunt work was really good because I know Louis Tan, the guy who played him, is an actual fighter and a stuntman. He was in Iron Fist. He played the drunk master in Iron Fist. The only good episode of Iron Fist, he was the opponent.
If they made Cole better or cooler, do you think that would have overshadowed the other characters that we already know?
No,
I don't feel so. I think that there's plenty of other ways. There's so many characters that are crazy fleshed out in that movie that they could have fit it in, and they focus on him so much. You might as well have thrown in some cooler aspects to him.
I thought I liked him as a character. I can see why he didn't fit that well with the world, because I don't think he was as, integrated that well. You have to introduce new characters. It's always going to be a little clunky, right? Hopefully they'll get it down by the second one.
Out of place, but it's not in necessarily a bad way. He's just he's a regular guy that they threw in.
A little generic. Like at the end of the day, it's just a little generic.
Blank slate.
But I like his power. I hope they develop it later on, into the second sequel. I thought his fight with Goro was cool. I thought the visuals of that fight was really cool, and the animation and the CGI when Goro spilled all his guts on the floor.
Yeah,
that shit was insane, and I thought it was well lit.
Goro on the cliff holding on to that rock. The little claymation arms.
Yeah, the little animatronic face.
Right.
He gets punched in the nuts.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel weird about Cole. I'm like, I don't know if I like him.
Yeah, I think they just need to flesh him out more. And they left it up where it seems like they're going to keep going with it.
Yeah, because you already introduced him. People are going to get used to him now. And then you can now take his story to a better, more interesting place and develop him as his own character for this movie franchise. And
I guess I feel he hasn't earned it.
Right.
So many other characters that could have done that, and I feel he hasn't earned it. So maybe, I got to see him in a game or see him in a, what I'm saying?
Sure they'll integrate him in some way.
I hope they add him to the game, and then improve his character there. Like, let's take this idea of his power and let's make it into our version of it in the games.
That'd be awesome. In those games, have someone who absorbs damage.
Right.
Have like a parry system and have him take it and then transfer it back.
Have MMA grapples, things like that, type of throws and type of combos and stuff you can set up, because other games have done that. There are MMA fighters in other games. Like I know Dead or Alive has one, and she's great.
Street Fighter 2, right?
Street Fighter 2 has one as well.
Yeah.
All right. What did you guys think of the story? Now I know the story isn't the strongest aspect, but at the end of the day, it wasn't a tournament.
No, well,
it was not a tournament. It was just
they forced one.
Yeah, we're gonna attack them, but one by one, so that it looks like a tournament.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Like, let's not send Jax with backup and just jump one guy, and then we'll teleport him to the other guy, and then three guys jump that one guy. They, for whatever reason, they're like, no, we're gonna go ahead and split up and have one-on-one tournament fights.
It was a weird plan.
It did feel though that with Raiden and was it Shang Tsung?
Yeah.
Raiden and Shang Tsung, that there is a kind of rule book they have to follow when they mention things like their older gods.
Right.
Where even though Shang Tsung's evil, he's trying to kind of just bogart the...
Yeah, because he said he won the last 9 tournaments just cheating.
Yeah.
So why even have these tournaments then?
Yeah.
So why isn't there an all-out fight,
This way, they appealed to some higher force that now is forcing them where, okay, we're going to have another Mortal Kombat movie because technically they won this tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
So they
well, I don't think that's
I
don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be more of
an actual
we have
war.
to have now is the actual tournament. To the second movie is going to be the actual tournament.
Oh no, that's not going to be at all. Remember they mentioned at the end. Now it's going to be war.
I think you don't think so, that there's going to be an actual tournament and then the third one's going to be all out war.
I think the second one's going to be like Mortal Kombat 9, where they're going to invade Earth, and now they're going to have all this fodder that they're going to have to fucking kill, which can do more fatalities, more moves, things like that.
Tight too. I'm totally okay with.
Like imagine it's Sonya just killing a bunch of dudes, a bunch of Barakas, right?
Yeah.
Like those type of creatures, and that'd be cool. You could set up a lot of good scenes that way.
Or Devora, if they even brought in Devora.
Devora's such a cool design. Yeah.
Bug lady.
It's such a good idea. I wish you could.
There's lots of good characters you can pull from the Mortal Kombat universe. I just think some characters will be harder to pull off because it depends on how much budget, CGI they have to do, things like that.
At this point, I think they have like a good now, bro. I mean, with the way the games are, it's like if they could do it in the game.
You got 7 other ninjas you can
No, but not only that, it's like if you can pull off a CG fatality in a game or a CG ability in the game, I mean, it's not going to be. I think CG's in a place where it's like they can do it on a good budget. I think.
Right.
You just got to do it right.
Yeah.
How many copies do you think Mortal Kombat 11 sold now? Now that this movie came out,
I don't know. I'm sure if we looked it up, but
probably.
I wouldn't
sure
doubt that will get marked next
10,
month.
And 11 are
Yeah.
gonna be pretty up there. And I wouldn't doubt you're gonna see a sale on PlayStation or Xbox.
Mortal Kombat 9 was the one that was just called Mortal Kombat, right? It was like the soft reboot.
Yeah, it was the soft reboot. Yeah, it was Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat
No,
X,
just Mortal Kombat,
and then 11.
right? It was just Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. They had no 9 to it.
Have a number.
That was 2009, 11.
Yeah,
Wow.
Because I played on my PS Vita. It's whenever the PS Vita came out. When did I buy the PS Vita?
I played it on the 360.
I want to say 2012 or 2013. But yeah, definitely. You can use so many characters from any of those Mortal Kombat universes.
The roster is massive. I just want him to kill off a mocap guy. Just 'cause I just want to see a mocap.
They break into a studio while they're fighting, and there's a mocap guy there
you could
recording.
work that in with Johnny Cage so easily. You just have Johnny Cage in fights, and mocap guy just getting murdered.
It was 2011.
2011. Okay.
The reboot, for the soft reboot.
So, are you guys excited for the next one then?
Yeah, I want to see it.
I'm really interested in the direction.
I want to see a ninja reptile.
Exactly.
Even if it's a reptile, but like a lizard man. I don't care.
But in
just
the costume.
dress
Right.
like a ninja.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because that reptile creature that they had in the beginning, it's a reptile, but it was like reptile Silos or something. It had a name.
They mentioned that there's more of that species. So
Exactly.
You're going to see so many of them. And there's other characters too, right? That are the reptilian characters in the games. They just have different names. Was Chameleon was one of them, right?
I think Chameleon was just.
That might be Soul Calibur that you're thinking of.
Am I?
Yeah.
Chameleon.
There is a Chameleon?
Yeah, I just don't remember what I think he was in Mortal Kombat 3, and he was just Reptile and Sub-Zero mixed together.
Because he copied
It was like a
moves.
secret, and then you could fight Noob Saibot.
Yeah, and then you bring Rain,
In Mortal
Purple
Kombat.
Ninja.
I think Rain was supposed to be in it. He had a scene with Rain, but he couldn't fit him into the story, but he had a dope scene with him. So they're going to save him for a different one.
Yeah, you can use so many people now.
Yeah.
Smoke, Rain, Cyrax, Sector.
Ermac and Kenshi. would
Yeah,
be cool.
Kenshi. I want Kenshi.
Yeah, Kenshi's cool. The blind guy.
Yeah,
Is Ermac supposed to be a mummy? Right?
kind of.
Right?
Yeah, you can do that easily. Like,
Like a high priest.
Yeah.
Corrupt high priest.
with like glowing green eyes. You could do that.
He's
That wouldn't be
full
too expensive to make that character.
Thousands of souls or something, right? He's like a vessel and he has a bunch of souls.
I don't know. Him, Quan Chi, Shinnok, and Shang Tsung all kind of get blurred to me.
Yeah, because they all have similar powers.
Yeah.
Like,
Necromancer type
Yeah.
of shit.
you know, either way, necromancy, all these powers are coming in. I'm loving that they're representing that. Remember when Shang Tsung stole Kung Lao's soul? That looked great.
Yeah.
When that green effect, I love that they still use the green effect. I love that this is little tiny soul going into the mouth.
And you could see his deteriation. In
of the
It was
face.
progressive.
Yeah, with him turning into like a skeleton. I thought that was amazing too.
Yeah, at first I was kind of like, oh man, Kung Lao was dope, and they just offed him. And then, but the whole idea of them becoming wraiths and specters and shit like that.
Right.
Like, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm down to see
Yeah,
that.
they're definitely they're gonna have to bring him back in some,
There's
some
I'm
capacity.
pretty sure they're gonna kill off Liu Kang if they do another one.
Right.
Maybe.
And
Kill off Liu Kang and have the wraith
the
shamans.
zombie look.
Shamans the way they did.
what if
They
it's
have to, and then they meet their living selves.
right?
Oh shit.
What if they don't do a zombie Liu Kang, but it's a zombie Kung Lao instead, and that's the version, that's the movie's version of that theory.
That whole storyline.
Right, exactly.
And I'm sure they could add that as a driving factor to kill Shang Tsung to get Kung Lao's
Soul back. Yeah.
So that's going to be a revenge story.
Put him in Cyrax's body and make a combined character.
That'd be cool.
No, that make me angry.
Why would that make you angry?
Because Kung Lao's Kung Lao.
I know, yeah. You can have his robot with the metal hat. At least it would make more sense why he has a metal hat. 'Cause he's a robot.
Yeah, I always hated the cyborg Sub-Zero. I hated how it looked. And it just,
Damn, what is his name? I never. Was it Sub-Zero?
It's just Cyber Sub-Zero.
Oh, right. That was from 10, right?
It just felt pretty lazy.
Yeah.
10.
It's the same
Yeah,
abilities.
It was for 10, yeah.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was cool. I like Smoke too. Smoke
Smoke
the
was
ninja
awesome.
He had his awesome moves too.
Oh, yeah, I
His
love Smoke.
backstory was awesome.
And
in that
remember
game.
Noob Saibot.
Remember his toss? Smoke's toss?
Oh, yeah. What did he
Shoulder tackle.
No. He would run up to you, and then like a claw would come out of his chest, and then he'd flip you over him.
Dang. I was.
Like he'd run up to you and then stop about a foot away from you, and then like the big grapple hand would just grab you and just throw him. It was
That's
like a
cool.
forklift, like a human forklift.
Okay, Rob. What would you want for the sequel and your final thoughts on the movie?
I feel like if they're like the sequel, I would want, now that all the exposition is out of the way, just have at it. You know what I mean? Just fight after fight after fight. Just, you know what I mean? Just nothing but. And I like what they're doing. It's almost like a Fast and the Furious approach.
Right.
Just throw everything at it, you know?
Like, you know what this is.
Yeah.
Let's have fun with it.
If they do that, I'm hoping that they approach it like that, where it's like, okay, the next one's got to be bigger and bloodier. You know what I mean? And if they do that every time, I think that's what the games are. So the people that love the games are going to love the movies. You're giving fans of the game what they like about the game.
Right.
In a movie.
And maybe you're bringing in new fans who saw this movie. Hey, there's a Mortal Kombat game. I have an Xbox. Let me go, download that game right now.
I'm gonna play the game.
Yeah.
No, it's I like it. I mean, there are issues with it. There were certain weak things that I thought Melina got done dirty. They could have thrown in Baraka, instead of Melina if they were just.
I thought the Melina reveal was great of her actually having the mouth.
Awesome.
Right.
She was awesome. Great. But they didn't give her much to do.
No, she was just a fodder character.
Yeah, so there has to be, either she becomes a wraith, and then there's then the whole Kitana storyline has to come along. Yeah, because
they teased her. You see her fan in the background.
Yeah. I want to see Kitana in these movies. Those would be some cool fatalities.
Chatu, final thoughts, and what do you want to see for the sequel?
For the sequel, I really do want to say what Tito said earlier about seeing a reptile in the ninja costume. I just feel like they do him dirty every time in the movie. I mean, the first one is by far the worst. But
it's going to be the Geico Gecko.
I can save you 10% on insurance. And just kick him. But I really do feel that they need to, especially with Cole, they need to do some more callbacks in some of the older games and some of the roster that like the fans are familiar with. Just to kind of fill the void where there's a few background characters that were used as fodder that aren't as well known as like Scorpion and Sub-Zero, but there's so many people in Mortal Kombat that they could have used. Like Baraka would be amazing to see, and they could add a body horror aspect with his blades or something, and the visuals and the gore.
And there's multiple of that race, right? Because they're not called Barakas, but they're like their own race, right? They're otherworlders, right?
They're Tarkatans.
They're like the foot soldiers for Mortal Kombat.
For the guys that there's hundreds of. Those are the infantry for Shang Tsung or for Shao Kahn.
Yeah, I definitely feel that a lot of those other characters, if you're gonna kill off anybody, kill off the weaker roster.
Right.
But if you're going to kill off anybody, just kill off the weaker roster. But there's so many other people we can make callbacks to. And I'm so glad that they even mentioned someone like Johnny Cage. I can't wait to see the interactions between him and Sonya, because it's so iconic. And
especially with that actress, if they get a good actor to
the biggest douche you can find. The Miz from WWE. He would work really well. It'd be really funny with him. But I would love to see that, and I want to see those storylines that we're so familiar with to actually be on screen.
I want to see for the sequel, the war, the one that they kind of teased at the end. I kind of want to see that where we already saw the tournament. We've already seen that visual in the older movies. Like, I kind of agree with you. I would like to see another tournament, like an otherworld tournament, and have other characters come in from different realms. But I've already seen that. Show me something new. And I'm thinking like in Mortal Kombat 9, where Otherworld invades Earth and it becomes almost like a Mad Max type of world.
It's a massive
I want to see that, and I want to see killing and then special scenes that you could do with that. Imagine Sonya's powers or Jax's power, and they're like ripping through like 10, 20 of these guys, and you have cool scenes like that. Just because the only reason I want that is because we already had the tournament. I've seen that visual. I want a different setting for this world.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can this can take place in Otherworld and shows us what the other realms look like. What if they don't stay on Earth? What if they do go travel and try to find other people to recruit to fight against the Shang Tsung, who's clearly breaking the rules. Apparently, there's rules in this world.
Yeah.
If they keep it fun and just what it is, I think it'll be fine. Wherever they decide to go is going to be fine, because what they got down, which I think is the hardest thing to get down, is the tone.
Tone is so good.
They got the tone. And then, like you read earlier, the quote from the director, where it's all these things coming from different areas making one cohesive thing. That's fucking cool.
Right.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
All right, going from a great movie,
A great bad movie.
a great bad movie, to just a bad movie. Okay, so let me just paint the scene a little bit. We finished watching Mortal Kombat 2021. We had time kill. We were just having fun. My bright idea was, hey, have you guys seen Dark Phoenix? And you guys are like, no.
I didn't want to, man. New Mutants and Dark... I actually wanted to see New Mutants more than Dark Phoenix. It actually looks better. But I don't want to see it. I didn't want to do it.
Well, I
couldn't say no.
And the torture fest began. So let's talk about. It's a little late. Movie came out in 2019.
Yeah.
It came and went. It was like one of the.
It definitely did. It's not memorable whatsoever.
A fart in the wind.
Yeah. So let's talk about Dark Phoenix. That movie came out. It's just a piece of shit. Like, it's just really bad on a lot of levels. It disrespects the audience. There's no continuity.
I have an idea.
It's so lazy.
I have an idea. And this goes against this goes against podcasting 101. We should just vent. Just vent about that. That movie was such a fucking waste of fucking time. Jennifer Lawrence didn't want to be there.
Did not want to be there.
Nobody wanted to be there.
Nobody wanted to be there. And
even Magneto felt so low energy when a lot of times Magneto is so great in these movies, and he brings a lot of like I understand the Magneto that they were playing was a Magneto who kind of had found peace, but I just didn't see that. I just thought no one, like you said, no one wanted really to be there.
Yeah. One thing I do.
The only guy that was trying was the guy from Ready Player One. I thought he was the most earnest out of all the cast. Like, he's trying to make up a performance.
But I felt like he was overdoing it.
Yeah.
Because then everyone's being so lackadaisical that when someone brings it, it felt like they were doing it too much. They were overdoing it. And
but at least he brought it.
Yeah, he did.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender always bring it.
Yeah.
But like, I felt like Jennifer Lawrence was just playing angry Jennifer Lawrence.
Right.
And then
they told her to channel all the frustration from being in the movie.
Yeah. It sucked, man.
It was really bad. She looked horrible. The wig was awful. The makeup was horrible.
It was like nobody cared.
Yeah.
A lot of the action scenes weren't that great.
No.
Like, literally, we had 2 scenes where they're fighting from one end of the street to the other end of the street. Yeah. Or to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
just across the street.
But it also felt that, like, when you see the characters, especially because we have Magneto and a bunch of people that have a telekinesis, but they're just standing. Or in Professor X's case, sitting.
Yeah, in Last Stand, I felt like the last scene where it was supposed to be the big climax, and then you have the Brotherhood of Mutants when it got all big, and they're standing on the Golden Gate Bridge.
And Magneto lifts it up.
And there's a whole battle going on, and the X-Men are fighting all the Brotherhood, and then you got Phoenix, Magneto, and then Magneto's like elite,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Pyro and Iceman and Juggernaut, and he's sending them off one by ones as if he's playing a game of chess. If you watch it, it's like the Brotherhood. He's
like setting up.
And then the movie ends with him getting his power back. It was a shitty movie, but it was a nice little subtle thing. That made me feel like it was a game, like they're LARPing.
Turn-based.
And I didn't like it. At the moment, I didn't like it. I was like, this is stupid. Like, going from Magneto having to work with the X-Men to free fucking, Alkaline, in part 2, which is my favorite one, part 2.
Yeah.
And then First Class is really good, I think.
Days of Future Past.
Yeah, that one's really good. But going from there to LARPing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just like, fuck.
It feels like a slap in the face after seeing Logan. And you see Logan, you're like, this is an amazing
Yeah, but that was a different era for Last Stand.
I understand that, but the thing is, they're within the same world. It feels like,
same character.
It just feels like...
Look, the X-Men continuity has never made sense.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
But the quality drop-off is awful.
No, but the thing is, the quality drop-off, it's not a decline. It's like one movie will be dope, and then the next movie is cashing in.
Yeah.
And then the next movie is dope, but then nobody sees it.
Right.
And the next movie is dope, and then it's a giant hit. And then the next movie comes out, and it's shitty, and it's a hit, but the reviews are shitty. So it's like they're playing with the expectation, the continuity, the quality difference.
It's just not consistent.
It's not consistent.
It's not even consistent. Like, like I want to bring back Fast and Furious. Like when those movies first started, they were not what they are now. They slowly evolved into that over
But
time.
there is a consistency there.
No, of
Where
course.
you see it like
But I mean, like
better,
the tonal shift though.
Yeah.
In these movies, in these X-Men movies, the shifts are everywhere.
Yeah.
Like you don't know where it's coming from or where the direction is going. Like this movie starts off with Jean Grey getting her Phoenix power, which they never mention. And when she had it in the last one, they literally told us she has this power already in her, and they just completely ignore and retcon that for no reason.
They had to put him in space. They had needed a reason to put him in space.
The space scene was cool. I thought that mission was visually cool, and I like that. That's how the power came in. But after that,
Quicksilver, what just got sidelined? What happened?
Super sidelined.
I don't even remember what happened.
She broke his leg.
Oh right, and that's it. He's done.
You know what?
That makes no sense. He heals fast. We know this.
And then he went, fuck this, I'm going to go film the WandaVision.
I'm going to the other place.
It was Agatha all along. She ruined this movie.
No, it was lazy. It felt like a Days of Our Lives mixed with a sci-fi movie. It was just... And I understand that there's a bunch of things going on in the background. But
there was a lot of news behind this movie. There was a lot of production issues. Merger. Bryan Singer's controversies, everything that he had to be taken off the project.
Yeah, man. He got taken off of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Wait, what happened?
He's a pedophile or something.
Sexual assault, things like that.
That's a good reason to take someone.
I mean, I'm not gonna defend Bryan Singer either. Like, I don't think he had the best vision either for the X-Men franchise. You know what I'm saying? It's just hard.
He's done good movies, like really good movies, like Bohemian Rhapsody was great. Valkyrie was great.
Who did Days of Future Past? Who did Logan?
That was Bryan Singer, and Logan was James Mangold.
Okay.
He did Wolverine, but then he also did 3:10 to Yuma, Walk the Line, Copland. Have you ever seen Copland with Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro, Sylvester Stallone?
We need to sit down and watch Copland.
Okay, we gotta watch it.
It's like a movie about a town where it's a bunch of cops, and they're all corrupt city, like NYPD cops or something like that. They're city cops. And Stallone, he's deaf in one ear, so he couldn't make it as a city cop, but he's the sheriff of the neighborhood where all the corrupt cops lived. Mm-hmm. So Sylvester Stallone, he's all fat. It's like his fucking best role, dude. Yeah. And he's just like
it's a donut munching cop.
Yeah, he's just like
Why does this sound like that one movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger where he's defending a small town?
It kind of is. So Stallone with all the corruption.
Yeah.
He takes it to the cast is amazing, dude. Like
it's really good.
This guy's in it too, and then the next scene, that guy's in it too, and it's just all these great gangster movie guys. Right. They're all playing cops.
What did you get? Okay. Sophia Turner, right? The actress who plays Phoenix.
Sophie Turner, yeah.
Sophie Turner, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I know she comes from Game of Thrones. That's where kind of she blew up. I thought she played a good Phoenix. I like her character. But the problem is they didn't give her anything to do, and her lines were just god-awful terrible. They were super predictable.
It felt like a treatment. Like they were like...
She felt better in Apocalypse, and then suddenly she turned super robotic and monotone in this version.
They were just... The chemistry between a lot of the characters is so off too. And
I don't know if I agree with that because the chemistry was there in the last one. It's the same cast.
Yeah, no, but in this exact same cast, the chemistry wasn't.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not the chemistry; it's the writing.
The writing, because the writing was super terrible.
It felt like it was like the first draft, and they made the movie on the first draft. So it felt like all the lines that they were saying were conveying the thoughts that the characters wanted to convey,
but not fleshed out.
But they weren't fleshed out, and they weren't in line with the character. You know what I mean? So when the guy from Ready Player One, Ty Sheridan, I think his name is, the guy from Ready Player One, I'm pretty sure his name is Cyclops,
Laser guy.
When he what was the other one? Apocalypse. He was cool. He was fine.
Yeah, I liked him.
And right here, it's like when he's...
You're right. Ty Sheridan.
So he's a good actor.
Yeah.
When he would say a line, they have to, like, when they're writing a script, it's like, okay, this is what I want them to say, and this is how the character would say it.
Right.
You know, so everything you know about that character, all the history you've applied to that character, you apply it to what you want them to say for the story purposes, right? Mm-hmm. That's what writing is, right? So, like, when it comes to writing dialogue. But you can't, like, so they would say things that was out of character.
Or just generic as hell. You could put these lines in any movie and it sounds...
I feel like they would have been better off if they straight up said, okay, you're this character, now this is what you're gonna say, but say it as that character. They gave him the range to be like, yeah, just kind of ad lib what you think this person would say.
That's what
it probably would have been
a better thing than just sticking to
what would Cyclops
ass.
say? What would Jean Grey say? Instead of just read the line. Like,
who knows how they did it?
Yeah,
who knows how they did it?
Or how? Yeah.
But it felt like it was Degrassi with special effects. Like it felt so.
It was really bad.
So cheap.
Yeah.
Very low quality. Even the cinematography was cheap. There was some good moments, like some beautiful moments.
Yeah. But it doesn't save it.
I don't understand.
Villains? We go from Sentinels to guys in suits?
Right?
What is this?
And then with when they bring in, like, remember the military chopper scene? I was like, why did that need that whole scene just didn't need to be there?
You know
what?
They
sent in Jean Grey talks to Magneto.
Yeah. When they're at that little utopia that he made.
Weird Vietnam helicopter.
That's so bad, Tito, that it just wiped from your memory.
Yeah, no. But I just don't get it, because it's like, why is this scene here? And they're having a tug of war with their hands. And it just like...
It looks bad.
It
just
so
looks
shitty.
bad.
Yeah. And they're like... And they're like struggling with their fucking hands out. It just looks so stupid.
It's like someone made a YouTube video of kids doing the Magneto impressions, in real life.
Just dragging a JPEG on a screen.
So
like,
this has got to be bad for the actors, because they do that thinking that, the CG guys got it, just commit to it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they go to the premiere and they sit down in the theater and they look up on the screen and all the CG's gone. It's just them, the deadpan controlling all these fucking...
The shaky hands.
Yeah.
Just they were way too long.
They
were way too long.
It was a sequence.
Yes, and it was just them standing in front of, like, assuming a green screen, and it just... stupid hands out like T-Rexes.
Some powers just have that effect in films, though. That's what I hate about it. Like, some powers just don't translate too well. Especially that scene showed you that exact same thing. That Magneto has that magnetic power, right?
Yeah.
You can't see that.
Yeah.
Jean Grey has a telekinesis. You can't see that either. Both powers where you can't see are fighting against each other, and you have to believe it.
just take our word for it. The helicopter's moving because
there's stuff happening.
There's stuff, we promise. There's wooloo-loos going on.
Yeah.
I would always call that when you can't see the power, the Last Airbender effect, where I don't know if you guys have seen that show, that cartoon show.
Yes.
But they have to animate the air.
You have to.
It's
some particles.
You see the little, everything that he does. You see the airflow when he does the attacks. Because if you don't animate it, there's nothing there because you can't see air either.
But they're real clever about it. If you go back and watch it, they're not animating the air a lot of the time. Sometimes you see it in the form of like wind. You know, like blurs and stuff like that. But what that show does really well is they animate the effect of it. So they animate if they shoot like a ball of air at somebody, they animate the dust kicking up on the floor, and then they animate like wherever the ball hit.
The fabric even moving. If someone gets hit by air, their fabric moves back. When you watch that show, what really sells the animation is the stuff that's happening around the air bending. You know what I mean? You buy into it a lot better.
Yeah. So like,
but there's also scenes where you see that airstream too,
straight up,
where it's like it has like a little blue tint to it sometimes.
With the telekinetic powers, I don't understand why you can't add like a mirage effect, like where there's heat waves or something. You could add that effect and you get it. Okay, that's being manipulated. Yeah. And you just go, oh, okay, and it's like, well, other people see it. It's not that weird.
In the comics, they would get like a purple thing in their head. When she would affect something, it would get like a purple glow.
There would be like little like glittery marks above her head.
Wanda.
Yeah, and that looks good too. And even calling back to something like in something in WandaVision or the Scarlet Witch in general, you don't want a blazing fire of red around everything you're manipulating.
I think James was like fuchsia.
Yeah, but they could add something, some indication, because it just looks so strange.
She had shiny veins on her eyes.
Shiny veins.
She had the Jack Kirby black spots. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, the little
the black dots.
Kind of get,
on the smokiness. Yeah, but that movie.
It was hard. The villains were not memorable.
I don't even know who the villain was, man. It was the lady.
The movie itself.
It was us. It was us, Tito. It was us all along.
But no, I don't even know. I mentioned it earlier on our way in that the worst part about this movie was that the most memorable part about it, to me, is the emotional state I was in while I was watching it.
You're just dead inside.
Just dead inside and angry and frustrated and insulted.
And I was having fun because I knew how bad it was already.
I was watching us.
Because I remember I told you, like, I just watched it one night by myself, drunk. And even then it wasn't that good.
I'm like... perfect conditions to watch it.
part of the fun of it for me was reacting in real time and being unbridled in my reaction, like giving like my live like commentary.
Yes, like your legitimate mindset you were in as you're watching. You're just like, wait, why are they doing this?
What the fuck, man? And then I don't know, man. Like
I mean, there were some legitimate good ideas there, but it's just the execute. Everything was just so weak around it. Like, I liked Mystique's point about Xavier. I liked Mystique's point. I like the representation of Magneto, where he had gone through so much violence that he wants a little bit of peace now. Yeah. He wants kind of what Xavier's doing. You know what I'm saying? I thought those ideas were good. But it's just in the wrong movie.
Yeah. The age continuity. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand it. There's no aging effect to them because it's already 20 years later from.
It's 40.
40 years later. Well, because it takes place when 80s, 90s.
This one?
Yes.
I think it's post 90s, right?
It was early 2000s.
Are you serious? That's when it's supposed to.
Because
they show Magneto 90s. In World War II, like in the 90s. Holocaust.
It was 90s.
That's insane though. You see him like they don't no aging effect, no makeup. He's just
continuity is not the best element of this X-Men universe. It never was.
But there's no attempt. That's what's so sad. Or you just like really like you guys aren't even gonna kind of try
or recast or something
or anything.
Yeah. It's time to like let that fucking ship sail.
Even the Kenobi show is coming out on Disney Plus. That has a huge time difference too, because in 3 years, Ian McGregor should be looking like Alec Guinness, and obviously their age difference and just human anatomy and the health things we do nowadays has Ian McGregor has such a better shape than Alec Guinness.
Yeah, they're almost supposed to be the same age, or Anakin and Kenobi are not that far off from each other.
It's probably easier to make Ewan McGregor look like Alec Guinness through makeup and effects than it would be to get Alec Guinness to look like
McGregor, right?
So,
which they did a great job in Ant-Man for
Michael Douglas.
Exactly. I thought they did a really good job with Michael Douglas as the portrait of him as being a young character.
Robert Downey, when they do his little flashback or it's like his therapy treatment.
Right.
It looked a little plasticky.
He did, but it still looks
still not bad
good.
Like I still bought it. Like it doesn't take you out of the movie.
The best one was Sam Jackson.
In Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel. In real life,
doesn't age.
Sam Jackson in real life. That's the best aging effect. No, in Captain Marvel, because there is a subtle difference, like a little neck giblets and shit.
He has a little bit of turkey neck.
Dark Phoenix. Fuck that movie.
For real, dude. It's a piece of shit. Don't watch it.
It's just terrible that, I mean, it doesn't end the X-Men franchise. We have another terrible movie, the New Mutants.
New Mutants.
And that is what ends the franchise.
Oh, God.
The Fox franchise.
That came out already, or what?
Yeah, it did. We watched Dark Phoenix before instead of New Mutants.
Oh, Lord.
New Mutants.
I don't know if I can do that.
It's on HBO Max.
Let's do it.
I kind of want to.
I like those characters.
Well, either way,
and the cast is strong.
Fox is gone.
Yeah.
They got merged. Disney has the rights to X-Men, and we're already starting to see in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Madripoor. We already started to see teases in WandaVision.
Yeah.
We know they're building up to it. And again, take as much time as you need, at least for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Build that shit over time and give us a nice payoff in the end. I just want to see how they're going to develop these characters. Are they going to go with solo movies? Are they going to do family movies, like you said, with Guardians of the Galaxy, where you have the ensemble cast?
I do think,
and they have a good storyline.
I think where the Avengers movies started off as individual movies that turned into a team movie. I think X-Men should be done backwards. That's just my opinion. The book started as what do you call
teams?
It was a team, and then
they break off into
solo books, and then smaller teams and shit like that.
Wolverine and Cyclops had a falling out. They went different ways.
X-Force and X-Factor. I'm cool with Wolverine not being in the first X-Men movie. I like just do the original.
Find them later.
Do the original team: Cyclops, Jean, Iceman. Do the original team, and then introduce Wolverine in the fucking She-Hulk show or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Hulk goes fucking rampant, and fucking She-Hulk has to grab Hulk, and then when she's out there, she finds Wolverine and Hulk fucking getting into it. Whatever.
Right.
Introduce it the way that it was in the
MCU.
comics.
I definitely do feel like you have to see them as a team. Them being kind of splintered off in their own movies first probably doesn't make as much sense. At least in the case of the X-Men.
And if they do get their own movies, movies, they gotta be earned. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like give us like X Factor, where it was when the kids left Xavier, if I remember right. The
And more
kids leave
Deadpool.
Xavier.
Just tie in more Deadpool.
And what's crazy is that, you know, there's obviously all these online theories of where they could go with the story, but they always give us a back into it. Like, we know that the blip caused and changed things. We know that when Spectrum, sorry for her name, Rambo, what's her name? Monica.
Yeah.
When Monica goes into the Wanda's thing, her body and chemistry had changed. They're showing a lot of...
Phasma? Her name's Phasma or something, right?
No, Spectrum. Photon, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Spectrum, and she has a couple of names. She becomes one of the Captain Marvels, if I'm not.
Yeah, she does. Blue Marvel?
Blue Marvel?
Yeah.
No, that's a guy.
Oh, right.
Blue Marvel's a guy. I think she like dates him or something like that.
Like you were saying, though, we were saying that the blip is affecting people. You know, they were even going to mention there is supposed to be a pandemic that was going on in the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. There was supposed to be a pandemic happening. That's why
they had to be cut because of real day pandemic.
So they even say that the
mutant genes coming up.
Yeah, that could have been part of it, and then also that the main villains would have had an actual reason to be bad guys.
Super powers, or just super soldier serum,
rather than just being evil.
Bad.
Born bad.
But either way, I'm still excited to see what MCU does with the X-Men license and go from there. Just build it however you do it. Just make it not true to the characters, but if you're going to change the characters, at least just like Doctor Strange, just like with all these characters that we've seen so far, show us a modern take of that character that's still true to the origins. Because you have to change a couple things.
There's certain characters that would work perfectly with like gender swaps or race swaps or things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
There's so much opportunity there to add diversity, especially being the X-Men. That's the point, is pushing diversity.
Yeah.
Right. But
especially the comics now, they have so many diverse characters that I think people don't realize. You know, because people love the X-Men at a certain point and then they drop off. They don't keep up with the comics.
Yeah, especially in the other books too. You have like in Excalibur and not Excalibur. Those are all Brits. No, they're all European. They're all European. But not Excalibur. What was I think it was X-Force with Sunspot and Magic and Cannonball and all those.
Right.
Yeah, those were cool. Strong Guy, you remember Strong Guy?
Strong Guy?
Strong Guy was just a big buff guy with like a little spit curl. Only he was bald with a little spit curl.
Damn, I don't remember that character at all.
Little like Doctor Strange glasses. Strange from Batman, not Marvel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hugo Strange.
Yeah, he had those little German doctor glasses.
Well, either way, watch Dark Phoenix just for fun.
No, don't.
Hate watch it. It's always good to hate watch a movie.
What I forgot to say earlier, we moved on, but it's just so fucking forgettable, man. It is so forgettable. And like, I remember just hating every second of it. And now I'm trying to think of it. I'm like, nothing. I got nothing
stuck
from that movie.
Nothing was memorable. The characters, the hero, just nobody I cared about.
Yeah. Well, again, like I mentioned, like hopefully they'll be able to repair X-Men's image.
Just
start over. Yeah.
Down,
and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So now we just have to wait and see what that looks like. But how long do you think that's going to take? Do you think Marvel is in this for like a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan?
5 years. I think.
Is 5 years a good
5
time?
Years for
Like when did New Mutants come out? Like when was it?
2020.
2020, right?
But it was done in 2017.
Right, it was done in a long time. They just kept holding it because of the merger.
I have another question for you though. You know how they're absorbing actors from the Spider-Man movie?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Are there any actors, if they do choose to go that route? We already saw Evan Peters play Ralph Boner, right?
Yeah.
Boner.
People think that's a red herring, that it's a guy playing Ralph Boner. It's fake. I beg to differ, because there was a missing person, someone who was in a witness protection. Remember that? So what if that was Quicksilver from the X-Men?
Right.
You know,
or even just you can still bring the multiverse. There's some Ralph Boner in another universe saying he's a Quicksilver in that universe.
Sure.
You know
what I'm saying is, what if Ralph Boner? Because what if he picked the name Boner? Like, think of
he thought it was
Fox.
funny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, think of the Fox Quicksilver, and they go pick a name, go Ralph, and then Boner, and I could just picture him doing that, and then, you know, then he gets knocked on the head. Agatha, whatever her name is. Agatha goes there, and everything happens. He could still be the Quicksilver.
Well, either way,
be the Quicksilver.
Either way, it's just a tease of the X-Men universe coming to life and being represented in the Marvel universe.
Wanda never technically touches him other than clears his mind, so maybe his power effects are still there.
Because Agatha gave him those powers.
Yeah,
but not necessarily, because he gets knocked out by Rambeau. Mm-hmm. He gets knocked out before Agatha's out. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So last we saw him, he had powers. We never saw Agatha out.
He never was touched by
no powers.
But we know that she did give him his powers, though.
We don't know that.
Yeah, she did.
She said
that. He got it. He straight up said it.
But interesting enough with Scarlet Witch, when she undoes the town, it's everything she touched. The only thing everything that Scarlet Witch touched. So everything that Agatha did could still be in place.
Yeah. Because remember, Scarlet Witch did not expect her brother or this Pietro to show up at all. Yeah. That was an implant by Agatha.
So he might be untouched and still have the powers.
Yeah, you never know.
Well, either way, I'm gonna I'm gonna reserve my judgment on that scene, on Evan Peters, because I have a feeling that it's gonna be revealed that.
Okay. Do you want to do a pizza party bet?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the bet?
Well, the thing is, I'm going to reserve my judgment.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I'm like, the betting makes it tasty, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it. It's more of like, okay, I'm not going to outright say, it was just a red herring yet. You know what I mean? Because you know how they are. You know, they drop a little something.
You just tell me you don't want a pizza party.
I do want a pizza party. But it's just, I want to make it clear that I'm not saying, this is going to happen. It's just, it's like,
I get you.
It could. But I had a question. The reason I brought that up, I had a question. Are you, if they do that, they start they're already bringing in Ryan Reynolds. We already saw Evan Peters.
Yeah.
Any age appropriate actors, as far as like if they're in the right age now to play the character that they played in the X-Men, which cast members would you want to bring over from the Fox movies aside from Evan Peters and Ryan Reynolds?
Don't bring any of them.
None of them.
All new actors.
And if Evan Peters turns out to be not Hugh Jackman.
Well, I wouldn't mind Hugh Jackman. Okay, you know me. I don't care.
Multiverse story. Notwithstanding a multiverse story, I'm talking about main MCU.
What if they did current X-Men, where X-23 is Wolverine, and you have Hugh Jackman training her? You know what I'm saying? Because where you have some representation from her in Logan. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. But that's what I'm saying. Like. So you would want, like, if in the main MCU, you would want...
If they're going straight up just X-Men, give us Jean Grey, Cyclops, all these characters, everything staying true to the original cast, the original group members of Beast and everyone, all new actors. I don't want anything to be coming from the Fox universe at all. That's why I like the whole Ralph Bohner thing, because I thought it was a fun little homage to the X-Men universe, but also a tease of, hey, this was that. Here's Magic, it's like here's Madripoor, here's this next thing, and we're gonna slowly start building up our version of the X-Men.
I was thinking about, if they do bring anybody over, I would be totally fine if they brought in James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender.
Just those two people.
Then, Ryan Reynolds, of course, he's already in.
Yeah.
Evan Peters, again, I'm on the fence about that one. He could still be Quicksilver.
Yeah.
He could still be. Yeah. And the Fox universe fucked up. He ran too fast. He ended up breaking fucking space time. Ended up in the MCU. He talks to fucking Sword. Sword tells him, okay, or the FBI. FBI tells him, okay, we'll put you in his protection. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
It could totally be the case, right?
Definitely could.
If they brought Evan Peters, Ryan Reynolds, Michael Fassbender, and James McAvoy, I would be cool with that. And X-23.
Okay.
Like, I would be okay with that.
Okay.
Aside from that, I think clean slate,
Chatu, who would you want? Would you want anyone back? Who would you want back in this universe if you had to pick from the Fox cast?
Hugh Jackman doesn't count. Everybody wants Hugh Jackman back.
But I don't think Hugh Jackman is possible. I mean, if he plays an Old Man Logan, yes, sure. But I don't think he can be Wolverine as we know him to be.
I think he could.
Who? Jackman?
Yeah. But notwithstanding,
unless we're going with like
an actual
X-Men Evolution cast, where it's a young cast and old Wolverine.
Right. I feel like sure, I would want to bring over the current Magneto and the current Professor X, but I just feel like it wouldn't be. It sounds strange, but it doesn't seem fair to the other actors that were a part of those movies to bring those people in, and I feel like maybe even they wouldn't be. Again, I don't know them, but sometimes some especially, but I'm sure that some of them wouldn't feel very comfortable with going like, well, you know, there's a whole team of people I worked with. I don't want to go over. So mine would be I do want a whole new cast, but if they're gonna do any multiverse stuff, sure, bring in other people. Let them
have fun with it.
Even flashback movies. Maybe you can go ahead and use the newer guys.
Like they're priming it so that they could do multiverse movies on any franchise from the past. Like if they want to do a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4,
it seems like that's where
totally do it.
It seems that's where Marvel, Sony, and DC is going. It's the race to the multiverse, but in the movie form, not the because we've already seen it in the TV form of it already. At least for the DC.
But even the movies are part of that, though.
Right, exactly.
They do have tie-ins with those.
Well, thank you for joining us for episode 4 and part 2, and we hope to hear from you soon. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and follow us on Instagram, ShootNLoot Outriders, Twitter @ShootNLootOP, and on TikTok @ShootNLoot Outriders to be notified of new episodes. That was Shoot the Captain. We'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye, everybody.